Just the contest is very even at the moment, sorry, Sodas.
So there we are at half-time, and it's a 19-point advantage for the Eagles, and it's time to have a look at our under-18s from last week. And always exciting to have a look at the best young talent coming through in South Australia.
The first of our under-18 match reports comes from the Richmond Oval, where the home side was in with a good chance of knocking the Magpies out of second spot on the ladder. The Eagles came visiting with 2 wins and 2 losses from their 4 outings. Both these sides were affected by college football, and you can bet both coaches were keeping an eye on the college competition, with players like the Eagles' Michael Jacquia and Emmett Cashel performing extremely well for Emmanuel and St Michael's respectively. But at the Richmond Oval, it was a game of Jays, with Jake Summerton, Jared Brusnahan, Joshua Grouden and Jake Fairclough all coming in for praise from the coach. And the leading goal scorer was also a Jay, with Jared Harding from the Port Districts Football Club picking up 4 goals and then leaving the contest with an injury at half-time. But it was 17-year-old Braden Cunningham who ruled the backlines, the ex-Birdwood tall man responsible for keeping the Bloods forwards out of the game. Woodville West Torrens led at every change, stretching the lead to 5 goals at half-time, but the Bloods came back strongly in the second half, restricting the Eagles to just 2 goals and a bunch of behinds. For Westies, Nathan Armat-Watkins was the spearhead with 3 goals and some best-on-ground votes. The 18-year-old has scored in all of his appearances this year and has received best-on-ground votes in all but 1, but that was against the Bays. Fair go. 18-year-old Bradley Helbig, who was last week named in the South Australian state squad to play in the National Championships later this month, was outstanding for West with 25 possessions and 2 goals, and Joshua Farmer was one of 4 Bloods players to score 2 goals on the day. And it was nearly enough to get the Bloods home, in the end falling short by just 9 points. And so instead of stealing second spot on the under-18 ladder, the Bloods slipped to 5th, with the Eagles climbing to 4th. At the other end of the under-18 ladder is Central District. If the future of the Bulldogs League side is indicated by the plight of the under-18s, then it's a bleak future. The Dogs are winless for 2010 and don't look like changing that anytime soon. Well, maybe in round 10 when they visit Noarlunga. But right now, the Dogs are definitely in a drought. The Roosters are sitting just outside the 5 with 3 wins and 3 losses, already ahead of their 2009 season when they only managed 2 wins for the whole year. So you could say that in round 6 the Roosters broke a club record for the most wins in a season, but that would be silly, so we won't say that. For North, 16-year-old Jack Viney was the standout, kicking 2 goals from an incredible 40 possessions. The son of Melbourne legend Todd Viney, the former Kerry Grammar School student, could have played for Sturt under the father-son rule, but instead chose North because he liked the environment at the club, and besides, his uncles Jay and Ryan both played for North. The Roosters aren't complaining at all. Jack picked up the MVP for the round. That was never in doubt. Other notables were Sam Mays with 2 goals and Jordan Wilson with 16 possessions. And Bryant Crowley was once again making his presence felt up front with 3 goals from his 10 disposals. For Central District, best on ground went to newcomer Lincoln Smith from the Barossa Light and Gawler Football Association. With 15 disposals on Saturday, Lincoln made sure he was noticed, even if he was on the losing team. But the Dogs weren't thrashed in this game. Even though they only scored 1 solitary point in the 3rd term, they kept the margin to just below 5 goals. The Roosters by 29 points over Centrals. The Panthers had nothing to lose heading into this clash against the second-placed Magpies, but they lost it anyway. Sitting bottom of the ladder, just keeping some respectability to the scoreboard was the order of the day, and they looked to be achieving that aim until the final term when a respectable 4-goal deficit ballooned out to a 13-goal thrashing in a matter of minutes. Port Adelaide needed to win this match to keep the pressure on the ladder-leading Tigers, who were on the bye. Port was 3 points behind the Bays, so they couldn't take top spot away, but they could close the gap to within a point, and that was worth playing for. On the scoreboard for Port Adelaide was 17-year-old Trent Heffernan from Henley High School. Trent scored 3 goals from 18 kicks and 9 handballs, and Gavin Shepherd doubled his goal tally with 4 goals on Saturday, taking his total for the year to 8. Also making an impression for the Magpies was 17-year-old Aziri Rakawasa. Asiri from the Ports Football Club in the Eastern Air Football League scored 2 goals for Port Adelaide, but he's just as keen at cricket, playing for Port Neale in the summer. This was a series' first time on the scoreboard for Port, but you can bet it won't be his last. Damien Tam and Paul Dreaman added to the scoring for the Magpies in a final quarter 8-goal blitz, keeping the Panthers to just 1 point. Jack Guy was perhaps best for the Panthers with 3 goals from 18 disposals, but it's going to take a lot more than that to lift the Panthers off the bottom of the table. Port Adelaide by 78 points at Noarlunga Oval. Just to keep you on the edge of your seat, we've saved the best till last. The Sturt versus Norwood clash at Unley Oval was a good old-fashioned cliffhanger. These two sides started the day with Sturt in 4th place and Norwood in 7th, but it might as well have been a battle for the premiership with the intensity the game had. Norwood came out of the blocks early and led going into the first break with goals to Nick Shield and Tom Langford, who took an exceptional 9 contested marks on the day. Norwood was on a roll, but whatever Sturt coach Chris Brown said to the boys at quarter time, it certainly paid off. Within the first 2 minutes of the second quarter, Mitchell Curnow had marked in front of goal and then converted to put Sturt right back in the contest. Norwood found it hard to come back again, leaving it until late in the final quarter to make their run. And when Joel Aish, the son of Michael Aish, booted this one home with just 4 minutes to go, the Redlegs were within 2 points of a hard-fought win. Bradley McKenzie could have sealed it for Sturt just 2 minutes from time, but his miss made the last couple of minutes extremely tense for both teams. The final siren would in the end deny Norwood the win, but they can hold their heads high, fighting to the very end of an extraordinary contest. Adam Shearwood, in his first game since returning from the state basketball squad, scored a couple of goals for Sturt, and AIS representative Jack Hombush had a blinder with 28 possessions and 2 goals. For Norwood, Luke Brown was among the best on ground with 23 disposals and 1 goal, and Dylan Reinbrecht was worthy of a mention for his 13 kicks and 8 handballs. Norwood oh so close in this one, but in the end Sturt just too good. Victors by 3 points.
So just reviewing all those scores now, the Eagles beating Westies by 9 points, North over Centrals by 29, 78-point margin for Port Adelaide over the Panthers, and in the closest result, just a 3 points separated Sturt and Norwood, and of course the Bays with the bye. And as we look at the ladder, the Bays leading the way, as we know, in the under-18 competition after 6 rounds. Port and Sturt, the other 2 clubs in prime position, you would think, to claim the double chance, although of course it is early in the season, and right down at the bottom, Centrals and the Panthers without a win. Well, it's also time to look at the under-18 national championships, and Brenton Phillips and the state selectors named their South Australian squad during the week. 36 players in the squad. We're going to have a look through at all the names now. And for Central District, Josh Waldhunter is a bottom ager, which means he's only 17 years of age, and apparently the Greater Western Sydney and the Gold Coast, they're the type of clubs, I should say, that would be looking at somebody like Jared. We move on through the Glenelg contingent, and of course at the top of the ladder, of course, they're going to have a number of players in there. Darcy Armfield, we know him, strong leading forward, very good at kicking for goal. Patrick McCarthy, 194 centimetre, mobile, utility type player according to Brenton Phillips, and he'll be one to keep an eye on too. Through now to the North Adelaide lineup. We've heard a lot about Lachlan Roach during the season. Callum Hay is a running midfielder, defender type. And then on to Norwood, and Daniel Gorringe is an AFL AIS scholarship holder. He's a strong ruckman, and we know that he's already played league football. He's a standout among those players there for the Redlegs. For Port Adelaide, well, Scott Lycett, and a standout in more than one way, because he's a very, very tall young man, and he's already played league football for Port Adelaide, another scholarship holder with the AFL AIS Academy. And you would expect that not only is he going to see a lot of league footy this year, but in the future. Nathan Pelly from South Adelaide, South's only representative in the squad, and he is a running midfielder / defender. On to Sturt, again, a club well represented. And you see there's Sam Day. We know that he's got a background in basketball, baseball, and also is an AFL AIS scholarship holder. So multi-talented player there to keep an eye on. On to Westies again. 5 players from Westies in the squad. Josh Farmer, strong running midfielder, averaging 32 touches a game in the under-18 competition. And finally, we'll get to the Eagles. They've got 4 representatives, and the name that is most applicable here is the AFL AIS scholarship holder Brodie Smith, according to none other than Brenton Phillips. He thinks they're a big chance. He's a big chance to go further in the under-18 championships, and The championships start later this month, with South Australia starting with a game against WA before, of course, taking on Vic Metro, and later in the contest as well, Vic Country to end in June. So that's their matches that are coming up. They also play the Northern Territory and Tasmania, who are the sides that have qualified from the second division, or the old second division of the under-18 championships. Well, now, from the under-18s, we're going to look nationally at the other senior matches around the country. We're going to start with the WAFL.
South Fremantle and Perth were both looking to ignite their season. Home side wasting little time as Josh Head opened the scoring from long range. The Demons' ball movement outstanding.
Well-weighted kick.
Before Corey DeLolio reduced the margin to a point ahead of quarter time. The contest remained tight in the second quarter as Andrew Seager capitalised from outside 50 before the Demons made their own luck.
Mzungu gets it, snaps and goals. He gets his second. The Demons extend their lead.
Anthony Colliker finishing off the quarter in style as the Bulldogs moved ahead by 11. The Demons started on fire in the third term.
Mzungu off to Alari. This time he'll take the shot himself. 4 goals in 9.5 minutes of the third quarter.
Callum Wilson leading the resistance and kicking his 6th goal to keep his side in the match, before Toby McLeod gave the winless Perth a 6-point lead at the final change. It took under 2 minutes for the Bulldogs to lock up the scores through Craig White before McGrath iced the game.
Toby McGrath steps on goal and he's put it through. Well, that is going to now make it almost impossible for the Demons.
Wilson continued to push for AFL selection, kicking his 7th goal as the reigning premiers recorded a 26-point win. Wilson leading the charge with 7 goals, while Eads and McLeod both kicked 4. In other round 7 matches, Subiaco thumped Peel. The Swans handed Claremont their first loss of the season. West Perth went down to the Sharks by 3, while the Royals had the bye. To the ladder, and Claremont sit on top from the Sharks, with Subiaco and the Falcons making up the top 4. Swans are outside by percentage from the Bulldogs, Royals, Peel and Demons on the bottom. Box Hill hosted the reigning premiers in round 4, and the home side got off to the perfect start.
Look at the carry on that football, and sneaking to the back of the pack, it's Fagan who gets the goal, and that comes within 40 seconds.
The Hawks looking the better in the opening stages to boot 3 of the first 4 as Corey Jones and the Roosters saw red. The fired-up visitors looked to put their dismal first-term performance behind them in the second, and did so in emphatic fashion.
Lee Harding likes his chances. This is for 3 on the trot. He's brought it back beautifully.
Yeah, great kick.
An incredible run of 6 straight goals, turning the game on its head as the shell-shocked Hawks lost their way completely.
Van Unen had to go backwards. That's an own goal.
It looked like more of the same in the third as Matt Tyler kick-started the Roosters' charge, but the Hawks steadied through Jordan Lyle.
Jordan Lyle comes up with the first goal after a very long drought.
The challenge had both sides fired up and willing, but again North Ballarat's class came to the fore as they brushed aside the brief fight back to boot 3 in a row and lead by 44 at the last change.
Nice gather by Richardson, sidestep, shoots at goal and puts it through.
The two sides traded goals in the early stages of the final term, but when Josh Smith kicked his 3rd, they were simply playing out time. Nick Peters added a touch of class for the visitors.
Had it stolen by Peters. Oh, great finish.
The Roosters simply far too good as they ran out comfortable 9-goal winners. Box Hill struggling after quarter time as the Roosters shared the goals around to put their disappointing round 3 loss behind them. In other games, Williamstown were too good for Port. The Bull Ants smashed Frankston by 106. Gold Coast lost another tight one, this time to the Scorpions. Werribee went down to the Pies. Geelong were no match for a rampant Bendigo. And Sandringham had an 8-point win over Coburg. Looking at the ladder, and it's the Zebras leading from Williamstown, North Ballarat, Bendigo and Casey. The Bull Ants, Box Hill and Collingwood round out the 8, with Port just outside. Geelong, Coburg and Frankston are next, with the Gold Coast and Werribee on the bottom. North Launceston travelled to Glenorchy in round 5, with the Bombers racing to an advantage, booting the opening 2 goals of the match. Adam Viney made the most of some quick ball movement, But the Magpies finished on a positive as Jessie Crouch cut the margin to 11 points just ahead of the Siren. Glenorchy remained aggressive in the second.
McLean in trouble. That should be holding the ball. Better pressure, Glenorchy.
But the Bombers punished them late as Darren Crawford continued to cause headaches kicking his third. 36-year-old Andrew McLean showed experience pace, reading the flight better as the Bombers held a 16-point lead at half-time. Glenorchy struck first in the third.
Has it. He's skillful. He's dangerous. He shoots a goal and he gets the perfect start to the second half for Glenorchy.
But Crawford was never far from the action, kicking his fourth goal. The Magpies remained persistent and booted 2 goals in a row to move within 11 points at three-quarter time. Final quarter became an arm wrestle as Zane Littlejohn stretched the Bombers' lead to 19 before Jonathan Bowering again moved the Magpies within striking distance.
How that wasn't touched, I don't know.
But in the end, Crawford proved the difference, guiding his side to a 29-point victory and making it 4 wins on the trot. Bowering, the Magpies' only multiple goal kicker, while Crawford finished with 7 for the Bombers. In other round 5 matches, Clarence thumped Lauderdale. North Hobart proved too strong for Launceston. Hobart also recorded a strong win over Burnie, while Devonport defeated the Bulldogs. To the ladder, and Clarence still sit a game clear on top from North Hobart and the Bombers, while Launceston, Devonport and Glenorchy make up the top 6. Hobart and Burnie are outside on percentage from the Bulldogs and Lauderdale on 1 win apiece.
Kirsty Bradmore with all the action around the country. And Brett, there's a couple of competitions you haven't played in there.
Yeah, there is a few. The Tasmanian League, which is just really newly reformed this year, and the WA League, which I've been pretty keen to get across to for a few years. So you never know. Don't rule it out just yet.
Years in those legs yet. All right, down to Sodas, and a special guest Sodas on Ladies' Day.
Yes, Heart Foundation Ladies' Day, and joining me is central field umpire from the SANFL, Colin Rouston. Colin, of course, wears 2 hats. Besides being an umpire, he works for the Heart Foundation. Colin, we see you boys looking magnificent in your red socks today. Tell us a bit about the initiative.
Yeah, we did it last year and it worked really well. So the Heart Foundation's teamed up with SANFL to highlight the, I guess, the importance to do something about heart disease, and in particular today about women with heart disease. I mean, the AFL is supporting breast cancer this weekend, and that's fantastic, but you might be surprised to know that 4 times as many women die from heart disease than do breast cancer. So we're doing something about heart disease today, and highlighting that and encouraging women to really look after their heart health and make sure they stay smoke-free, be active, enjoy healthy eating, and while you're at it, may as well donate to the Heart Foundation and help us with research and education.
Why not? Terrific initiative there. And as you mentioned there, it's probably a pretty surprising stat for many people in society to realise that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, 30 women every day in Australia die because of heart disease. That's almost the entire SANFL field umpiring panel, which might not upset people who think about the umpiring panel, but as far as women goes, it's a serious issue and it needs to be addressed. So if you're a woman out there, make sure that you look after your heart health.
So, Cole, no cigarettes, on the good food and plenty of exercise.
That's the way.
Good on you, mate. You get back out there and keep up the good work.
All right, cheers. Hope not too many people getting high blood pressure from my efforts today, but it's been pretty hot, isn't it?
Good on you, Cole. Well done, mate. Good stuff. Now, we talked about a bit of the controversy just before half-time, a couple of reports that we need to talk about. The first one was the Nick Salter bump on George Thring. There it is right there. So, Thring's been knocked down there, pretty groggy. That incident was followed up with a bit of controversy where Thring made his way to the boundary line. And we can see him here outside the gates here, whereas a North Adelaide trainer, she's just about to help George out, gets the word that, hang on, you're outside the gates. They try to bring him back on here as Kristen Thompson's waiting to go on. Now, Thring comes through the gates there. Thompson goes on for him, but there's a bit of confusion over at the interchange gates working out who actually came on, because there was another North Adelaide player near there. The rule at the moment has been that Thring has exited outside the gates. A player went on before that Thring got the chance to come back in. Then Thompson came on for another move. So certainly some controversy. Thring won't be able to come back on, but we'll hear a lot more about that. The second report, while that little incident was all happening, was that Adam Groggy, who's been in good touch against his old side, has thrown a little uppercut into the stomach of Andrew McIntyre. The umpires spotted it. We haven't got any vision of it, but 2 reports, Nick Salter and also Adam Groggy into the book.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Very, very comprehensive. Adam Groggy going into the book. And in the book at the moment, it says 19 points the advantage for the Eagles at half-time. They've been pretty good, and we're just wonder what will happen in the second half. It's seconds out and away you go. And we just wonder if there might be a little bit of a box on as we look at those goal kickers in the first half. And all singles on both sides. 7-3-45 plays 3-8-26. Brett, what do you make of the stats?
No, they're all pretty even across the board. Inside 50, centre breaks, not a lot in it. The only real difference is that North just haven't capitalised in front of goal.
Fascinating second half coming up. Here's Michael Maney.
Umpire balling it up. Up goes O'Hara. Can't get the knockdown. In Powell. And will we have another ball up in the middle? We generally do. A cluster around the footy. And umpire Tony Day says, give it to me. Lee Treby will be the man to emerge with the football. A lot of players around this. Gilhouse took it out of the ruck, got it quickly to Sikalella, jammed it on the boot. Cheap, couldn't quite trap the footy. In goes Allen, he's nailed by Powell. Ball jars loose. And the umpire's coming back, holding on too long to Jimmy Allen. And he started off the second half, as he has done in the first. Impeccable. Rory Sloane to the outer side. Gorman just couldn't mark the ball. Got there, did the hard running, and he's disappointed, as you can see. Did the hard running and couldn't finish off with the mark.
Boys, just quickly, these are on AFL pace for stats at the moment. The Eagles have had 182 disposals to half-time. North Adelaide 179.
Yeah, that's been that sort of game. A lot of things different today. Here's Geddes. High kick, and getting back in the gap is Sloane. Wants to go short. Oh, that's a interesting kick, but it's okay. Found White. Now White's got Boris in some space. Will he try and get around Grokey? Grokey's got him on the tackle. The young man got his kick away. Teasdale just ambled to the ball, took the mark, went to Thompson. Thompson over the top with a handball. Wright just gives a bit more ground. Back to Sloane. So North Adelaide just trying to keep off at the moment, deny the Eagles the ball. White decides, I've had enough of this. Let's get up in the forward line really quick with a big torpedo. Off the side of the boot. Williams, very nippy, paddled in front, paddled again. Wyman, handball over the top to Williams. Will he give it to Stewart? He tried to. Ball just off the ground, and it's a behind. Daniel Stewart. Is he the man who kicked the behind? Because it all happened pretty quick.
I think it was an accidental knock onto the goalpost. Didn't quite see whose foot it came off, but it may have been Daniel Stewart's.
We'll credit him with the behind, will we?
Oh, actually, I was going for Wyman.
Yeah.
I think it came off his foot in the end.
Give them both half a point.
Let's have a look, see if we can determine.
No, it was James Stewart.
So it was actually rushed.
Rushed, there you go.
Meanwhile, turnovers happening again. This time Wright allowed to play on. No, he wasn't. That was called holding the ball. So it'll go to Jarrett, who complains that it wasn't thrown back to him, and the umpire, respecting the player's judgment, says yes, that's 25. So Jarrett looking outside, McKenzie running for him, but he's stopped now. So Jarrett waits. A couple of players on the lead. Salter was one of them. He's opted against that as well. Called to play on surely. Yes, he is. Back to Powell. He was going nowhere. Outside of him is Grieger, but you wouldn't think that'd be the best option in terms of kicks. Maybe that was. And just floating down was Cheap, who's allowed to play on. He took on Alloway, who tripped him and went to goal. He'll come back and he'll have another shot. Alloway dived at him. Umpire ruled it was a trip or a hand below the knee. Take your pick.
Yeah, an accidental trip there by big Clint Alloway, but you just see there, North Adelaide still not manning up in defence. They're trying to set up their zones and trying to cover space, but just too easy for little Cheapy to drop into a little hole, and they just found him with some great ball use.
So Jay Cheap, you see there, 10 possessions for the afternoon, 8 marks, and the 1 goal. Which he kicked at the 24-minute mark of the opening term. And the Eagles have been in front ever since. And that's a lovely finish by Jay Cheap. And that lead of the Eagles extended out to 24 points.
You just see some great ball use by Lukey Powell coming inside 50. But as I mentioned, North Adelaide just not mounting up. We can see there on the screen a lot of numbers in, filling a lot of space. But little Jay Cheap just snuck into a hole, and some great use by Lukey Powell finished. And Cheapy finished with a great goal. North Adelaide just really need to just to go and get their man and really try and shut the game down, because if they keep leaving space for little fellas to run into, Eagles are going to cut them up for the rest of the afternoon.
Getting plenty of opportunities this year, Jay Cheap, with Craig Fitzgerald out for the year. Centre break, Wyman in front, needs to feed off well. Half-distance kick, Williams working well back to Wyman. Wyman inside 50, long kick. Is that the quick reply? No, it's not. It's a behind, so the points keep coming. 3-10 now for North Adelaide.
Yeah, just their inability to finish is really hurting North Adelaide. They've had enough of the footy and enough inside 50. Just need to start to capitalise and put some scores on the board.
8-3 to 3-10. More telling when the opposition's kicking straighter too. Allen quickly to right. He'll want to go. He goes back to Ivans. Dangerous. Ivans almost caught. Just got it onto the boot. 25 from goal. Dangerous. Bounce. Oh, good play by Stewart. Daniel Stewart just with a foot to the ball for the minor score though, under pressure. Just a quick look around the other grounds. Scores there. There are 2 other games going on this afternoon, with the Eagles now extending their margin here. Central's leading Port Adelaide by a very comfortable 41 points at Alberton. And down south at Noarlunga Westies over the Panthers by 3 goals.
Yes, West Adelaide. The interesting side, see whether they can make the finals or not. That would be the target for Andy Collins. No question about that, the way they've recruited. Nice mark to Daniel Stewart. Goes in short. Gill hovering over the ball. Handball intended for Allen. Picked off nicely by Sikalella. Away to Geddes. Geddes with his handball over the top, looking for Treby. Shutting him down is Thompson. Good tackle, but he got it away to Jared. Jared saw Roundtree run forward. He's got it and kicks, looks for and finds his man in Goldsworthy. Goldsworthy thought about it really short, but had a man a little bit further on. Handball by Schultz to Salter. Salter sells the dummy. Away, left footer, goal to Grokey. They worked it pretty nicely. I thought they might have just fiddled once too many, but it ended up in a goal to Adam Grokey.
Yeah, we just see Goldsworthy, beautiful use of the footy. Jay Schultz dishes off here to Salt. Saltz probably could have kicked the goal himself, but unselfishly hand off and nearly made a meal of it. But fortunate enough for the Eagles, they capitalised and finished off with a goal.
Well, they're well in command now, the Eagles. 28 points the margin.
Just the difference is that ability to finish in front of goal, and we see North have had enough of the play, just can't kick goals, and it's really starting to hurt them on the scoreboard.
Out of the middle, Allen. Wide he goes and high. Platten may be the target, but he won't get anywhere near it. Geddes dropped what he should have taken. Released the hand pass nicely. Allman onto it. Can't get possession, though. It's taken away from him. Umpire spotted a free kick. That won't make the Eagles fans happy. Sorry, it will make the Eagles fans happy. The North fans in front of us, not so. Allman takes his time. Down the line he goes. McKenzie or Grokey. O'Hara with the big mitt up for North Adelaide. That was a throw. What did the umpires say? Well, he was second in. Justin Sikalella pinched for holding the man. O'Hara, meanwhile, wants to give it to Allen, providing some support. O'Hara with the shepherd on Sikalella, who took a dive. Meanwhile, the ball across to right. And this is their problem, North Adelaide. It's all right to maintain possession across the ground, but you need to go forward at some stage. Ivan says, let's go forward. And they get outmarked. And Allman will come back the other way, and immediately player free on this side of the ground, the smart one, Sikalella.
Sikalella wants to go on with play, does so to James Stewart, fed nicely to Jared. Jared's on the wing, he kicks long, he's got Cheap over the back. Oh, he just waited for it to fall in his lap, read it okay. Wonderful run down by O'Hara. Ball ends up with Wright, got it from White, and then kicks it to Williams. Williams has got men running everywhere, one of them Stribling. Stribling goes short down the line, 50-50 kick really, and getting in the gap was McKenzie. That was a nothing kick. And McKenzie able to take the mark. Judges the footy so well. Looks for Powell. Up goes Treby. Lovely leap from Lee Treby. Good launch. He's got a man who's snuck into some space at half forward in Goldsworthy. Couldn't hold the mark. He'll want his left boot. Then feeds out the back to Lewis. Lewis off a step looking for Cheap, who had a look around him and saw he was clear. Salter's right there. Cheek wants to run around, curls it back. It's a wobbly old ball. They're going to have to fly. Fist comes. No kick taken by Ivans. Ivans kicks a real wobbler. That's difficult to mark, and Hill found that. He collected the footy. Oh, showed them a clean pair of heels, Hill, and he kicked long, and up they fly, and the mark's taken by Welsh. Scotty Welsh judged it nicely, and he'll kick from 25 metres out directly in front. And this is bread and butter. Nice leap from Scotty Welsh, uncontested, Brett.
Yeah, it just showed his experience there, Scotty Welsh, and read the ball coming in. Not a great kick coming forward, but just his ability to read the flight and take an uncontested mark.
He's made the goal umpire do a bit of work, but he's snuck it through for another goal. So all of a sudden the Eagles are out to a 34-point lead, and Scotty Welsh has got his second.
Again, we just see an uncontested marking in the Eagles forward 50. North Adelaide is setting a lot of players back zoning, but no one prepared to stand up and attack the footy and read the flight. Scotty Welsh, years of experience, just read the footy so much better than the North defenders and finishes off with an easy goal.
Boys, one stat I've never taken and I've never actually seen in an SANFL game before. Both teams are on track for triple-figure mark tally, 72 to 56 the Eagles way.
You got contested marks, though?
If I did, that'd be well and truly single figures.
That's the thing, isn't it? A lot of uncontested possessions going on as both sides try and skirt zones. Eagles doing it far better. Gill with a dangerous kick, and Allen made it look very good. And Allen got one over the shoulder late, said the umpire. And that was Lewis who'll get penalised in March 25. Just on the edge now of 50 will be where Allen kicks from.
I think the 25 there, so Lukey Jarrett came in late and probably stood on little Jimmy Allen.
So Allen has stood tall among his peers this afternoon. Long kick to the line. Oh, late was Stewart. Umpire spotted it and paid the mark. Gee, I thought the whistle came in such a way that he wasn't going to pay it.
You just see terrific. Had a good run at the footy there, Daniel Stewart. And for a big man, I think he's 6'7", 6'8". Took a terrific contested mark in the goal square, what we were just talking about.
Well, he didn't even need to stretch the arms above the head. In fact, it missed his arms and landed on his chest. And they need to come on, the Reds. They need to come on, these Roosters. That's a badly needed goal. Let's have another look at what was a brilliant mark.
Just seeing 4 or 5 deep there, big Daniel Stewart. Used Clint Ellaway at the front of the pack as a launching pad and just went up and came down. As you said, it landed in his breadbasket. He didn't have to put his long arms up and take it, but a terrific contested mark and something that you do pay to come and watch it at local footy.
Boys, just an update on Andrew McIntyre. We saw him come off late in that second term after he got a bit of a blow to the stomach, courtesy of Adam Groggy. He came off on the stretcher and just had the wind knocked out of him. Nothing too severe, but certainly wasn't expecting the blow. So that's the reason why he's come off the ground. And just with that interchange mix-up there with George Thring, we've had it confirmed that the player that came on fourth ring was in fact Matthew Wright, who was outside of the picture that we had. So it wasn't Kristen Thompson who came back on. So if that's the case, it appears that the correct decision's been made by the umpire, Stuart.
Thanks, Mark. And McIntyre likely to come back on?
Yeah, they said he should be okay once he just gets his breath back. But he's a tough nut, so it was strange to see him come off the ground, but certainly had the wind out of him, so that's why he had to come off on the stretcher.
Here's North. They go forward. Sloan. And I think I can recall in the first quarter he missed from the same spot, Brett. Just an on-the-run shot at goal, and he misses again. But North starting to get their hands on the footy.
Yeah, just still need to finish off in front of goal. Daniel Stewart kicked the last one, but still just too many opportunities have gone wasted by North Adelaide.
The soccer into the path of Teasdale, who was held. Banner off the ground again. Jarrod should be first to the ball, chased by the big ruckman in O'Hara and Thompson, who's considerably quicker, and that's why he was under pressure with the kick. Gorman the other way for North Adelaide, and Goldsworthy with a tackle over the line. An interesting stage of this match. 27 points the margin in favour of the Eagles. I wouldn't have said it's risen to any great heights, this particular contest, but the Roosters still in it. The Eagles just doing enough to win at the moment. And we'll get a ball up out of that.
The thing with both these sides is they can both score heavily very quickly, so if the game does start to open up, North can put the score on the board, and if they do start to capitalise on these opportunities, then they can get right back in the game.
Jay Schultz back on. Over the top, Jarrod accumulates the footy. Roundtree to Lewis. Banner. Kick off the side of the boot and floats out of bounds. It was touched. It'll be thrown in. So that ball touched off the boot, and the boundary umpire said, I'll hurl it back in.
Good to see an ex-teammate of mine too, Scotty Lewis, getting an opportunity at the Eagles. He's probably one of the best kicks of the footy in the competition, so look to see him getting his hands on the footy and using his great left foot skills.
Another left footer is Daniel Stewart, who hooks it back inboard. Bennett just went one-handed, needed to provide a contest, came back with a secondary effort, did well, got a handball over the top, goes to Geddes. Geddes got a problem, away to Miles, to Allman. Allman didn't like what he saw down the line initially, and then kicked out wide to Roundtree. Well done by Ivans, got the knock away, and then got it back from right. Ivans kept it close to the line. Gill took the chest mark this time under no pressure. And he's 50 out from goal, and these are the ones that Nick Gill kicks. Misses them from 5 metres out and kicks them from here. He loads up a long kick and kicks it out of bounds on the full, and sometimes it all does go to script. Nick Gill, that's a pretty poor kick, really, when you consider that from there, he probably should have been trying to centre it and get it into the 10-yard square.
And
There's
probably
George
what's
String.
cost Nicky Gill a spot on an AFL list. We all know he's athletic and can catch a footy and win the footy, but just struggles on those last finishing skills.
George Thring going down into the rooms. Obviously his day finished. And that was as a result of that big bump after he disposed of the ball by Grokey. So if his day wasn't finished anyway, so does it looks like with that shoulder that he might have been done anyway.
Yeah, he's in a fair bit of trouble after that hit from Salter. So the fact that the interchange incident might end up just being incidental. So he's in a, yeah, it looks like he's pretty groggy at the moment, George.
Now, the dispute over there on the far side of the ground, umpire Colin Rouston siding with the boundary umpire. Now, the question from James Allen was when the ball was thrown in, it was punched on the full back over the line, which, under the technicalities of the rule, means it's a free kick to the opposition. But umpire saw it as maybe having bounced just before the line. As a result, the throw in. We're now 40 metres down the ground, and we get another throw in.
Surprised Jimmy Allen knows that rule, because a bit like myself, I don't think he's been in too many ruck contests.
Take us through it, Brett.
Just Lukey Powell came in. Contested situation. They both had fist on the footy, so a tough one for the umpire to
I think
call.
at the end of the day, that was the issue. Not that it didn't go over the line, but
whose hand it did come off.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Sikalella and Treby on the interchange bench, and the Woodville West Torrens interchange steward hoping to do the right thing down there. The Lewis kick is found Schultz, who's now playing on Gorman. Jay Schultz, surprised to see him out of the power side, but he kicks long. I thought he's been okay for them. Up they fly. Ball flicks over the back. Here's an opportunity. Grokey might just kick another one. He ambles in and drills it home. Adam Grokey kicks goal number 2, and the Eagles just keep that little buffer. They're 33 points ahead, and North Adelaide, getting their hands on the ball, just can't do what that man is able to do up forward.
No, Daniel Healy will be really disappointed too. 3 North Adelaide players fly for the footy. And the first rule of playing in defence is to keep the ball in front. The ball gets over the back. 2 or 3 of the Eagles boys out there, and just Grokey gets the running relief. Easy goal. So North Adelaide defenders just need to keep the ball in front. You know, it's a silly mistake to have 3 players fly for the footy, uncontested against no Eagles players who all stayed down.
Luke Jarrod, 24 disposals for the match. Jimmy Allen, 29.
And the margin 33 in favour of the Eagles. Home team. We've missed the finals only once in the past decade. Stewart now in the ruck, straight up, straight down. And off the ball, just a high one. And Jarrod having a little bit of push and shove with Williams now, and could it be on again?
Yeah, just Scotty Lewis eyes for the footy. North Adelaide player, may have been accidental. We'll have a look at the replay in a minute, but just kept his composure and win a free kick.
Lewis straight back to Stewart, who went wide. McKenzie, haven't called his name often this afternoon. Big bump coming in on Allman. And that was from Delvin. The umpire didn't appreciate it. Now it's play on. Allman will approach 50. Long he goes to the goal face. Umpire still talking to the players. Scotty Welsh is talking to the ball and saying, come here. And it's still on a little bit behind play. And just watch this. Just rakes it in one hand.
Again, Scotty Welsh just showing his years of experience. Read the footy better than anyone the second time, and and should finish here with a really easy goal from 5 metres out.
No problems. And wait for it. Did I hear a whistle then? Umpire has paid the goal, but off the ball, still a push and shove goes on. Brokey involved again with some North Adelaide players. And if they're not very careful, this ball won't go back to the middle. It'll go into the hands of Scott Welsh for another goal. Nobody doing anything untoward there.
As we see here, the quick kick comes in nice and long. As I mentioned, Scotty Welsh, just his ability to read the play. Everyone else gets work done on the footy, and the ability to take a one-handed mark in the goal square. It just shows he is a class act at this level.
Neil Mark McKenzie, 11 disposals today.
Yes. McKenzie, good player. Just probably needs to get a bit more of it. Scotty Welsh, very composed up forward. Stewart down. No free kick to Sikalella. Goes back in after it. Pretty hard. Taken by Roundtree. The handball comes to Jarrod. Got it from Geddes to Lewis. Lewis with a drilling pass out wide. Salter. And the umpires come back. This game is really just on the edge at the moment. There's a fair bit happening. And the umpires have kept a reasonable lid on it for most of the day. And they've threatened to do far more than this because there's been a bit of feeling in it.
Yeah, just Lee Treby is a bit of a hothead at times. Just not sure who it was. It might have been Jaron Wyman off the ball. But as we mentioned earlier, the umpires are going to be looking for all those little ticky touches now that the game is heating up. And the players just need to know that and just concentrate on winning the footy.
Well, he's cost his side a goal, Treby, if he gave it away because the mark was taken and they would have got a goal. Here's Sikalella, so they've got to try and rebuild it again. Goldsworthy, a couple of kicks from goal, swings onto that left, looks for Welsh, can't take the mark. In they go. Gorman taking the ground, hands and knees. White had it chopped off. Boris just got it in quickly, nicely to Thompson. It wasn't 15, so Thompson goes away. Kicks, well, I was going to say kicks nicely. It was a nice looking kick, but it hit nobody. Taken by Wright. Teasdale, slip. Lewis got him over the shoulder. Couldn't help it. Couldn't quite help that. Goes to Wright. Wright kicks long. Alloway. And brilliantly taken by Hill. When you've got a full throttle Alloway coming at you, I'll tell you what, I might just jump out of the way, but Hill didn't.
Yeah, great courage by Hill. The hardest thing to do in footy is to run back to the flight of footy, especially when you know a guy like Clint Alloway, who's a big, strong body, is coming out charging from full forward.
James Stewart on the outer side, returning to the club, a season with Henley last year. And he's given it to Allman, who's deep in the back pocket.
Henley's just about the Eagles reserves anyway. A lot of players down there with history at this club. Here's Hill. North Adelaide, another poor disposal. And speaking of poor disposals, that's king of them all. Straight out on the full. Free kick now to Wright. Nothing much available for him down the line. Platten gives him a lead. Thompson was there and so was Gill. And Gill quickly off. And Bennett's kick was neat, inside 50. Bennett, twice runner-up in the Canberra competition medal in the past couple of years.
The Mulrooney medal, isn't it?
Mulrooney medal. Alloway from deep in the pocket. The goals are open, though, if he's good enough. And well, their time on. Third term, they really need this not to go out on the full. Well, doesn't that tell the story of the Roosters' afternoon? An afternoon where they've kicked appallingly in front of goals. 4 goals, 12, plays 12 goals, 3. Damon White going to the bench there.
Just the second really, I wouldn't say ordinary kick from Clint Alloway, but just needs to keep his head over the footy, and the side will be really looking for him to stand up and finish with those goals. They're working hard, they just can't capitalise.
By Wright, away to Allen. Allen's kick is okay to Delvins. Delvins, a couple of kicks out from goal, you suggest, goes to the lead of Alloway, who threw himself forward, no free kick. Back in after it again. Geddes emerges with the footy for the Eagles. Oh, the kick set up Banner, too far for him. Stribling has to hold on here. Fed it out, that's okay. Handball over the top. Taken by Thompson, missed by Teasdale. Back to Wyman. Wyman's short kick finds Alloway well within distance. 40 metres out directly in front. They just persisted, North Adelaide. They just kept desperate at the football, and it ends up with this man.
He's one of those centre-half forwards too, Clint Alloway, a bit like a Nick Riewoldt. He works so hard. We see him, he contested the footy on this side, pushed across in the pocket, worked off the ball, but just his second, third, his fourth leads. Eventually, North Adelaide win some clean footy and are able to find him inside 50.
Clint Alloway has kicked just the 9 goals, including 1 in this match. Horrible shank in the first quarter. And from 40 metres out, ought to kick this. Goal umpire's doing some fairly significant work away to his left, and he's missed it. And that's been the story of the day, as Luke Treby, as you said, likes to get a bit hot under the collar. I don't know that I'd mix it with that guy.
He's a pretty good fella, Treves, but he's one of those guys, you get him over the white line and he turns into a different breed.
Tattoo to honour his grandfather on his shoulder that took a considerable amount of time. I don't know if I'd have the patience nor the intestinal fortitude to sit there getting a tattoo that would take hours and hours. Eagles with the advantage of a free kick. Play on. Here's that man, Treby. Inside forward 50. He goes with a kick. Not a bad disposal at all. It's wide out, though. And plenty of work to do for Schultz. And presenting himself was Welsh. Just let it get through the hands over the back. Well, they fight on. No clean possession. We get a ball up finally.
Unusual there to see Scotty Welsh run on the footy as well. He normally reads it so well. Just the kick may have just had a little bit too much on it coming in from Jay Schultz.
Well, they've just cleared forward of the play there, the Eagles, and Salter, if they'd won the contest, was running towards open goal, but North Adelaide get it away. Here's Platten. Gill fought on pretty well. Umpire spotted that one. Going to ground, Teasdale in the back. He'll get the free kick. And from this situation, they have really struggled to get away from the grip of the Eagles this afternoon, North Adelaide. And again, just uncertainty about what they're going to do and a skill error. It works out okay to Allen. Allen takes a bounce through the square, and then he goes for Alloway. Alloway couldn't take the mark, knocked it forward. Allman was taken down. Still released the ball pretty well. Roundtree on centre wing. Goes long for Cheek. Flying across the front was the man they call Emu. Of course, that means he can't fly, but you know what I mean.
Thompson away, finds Wright. 5 goals straight, the Eagles, to 1-5 North Adelaide in this quarter. Alloway, long way from goal, just sits it out in front of Stewart, who takes it in front of his face. He has Wyman in short. Good little chip, and Lewis couldn't quite get there, and Wyman will have a shot. Stewart runs into the pocket, but he doesn't see him, as Damon White, who hobbled off a moment ago, looks like might have had an ankle strapped up. We might just get Mark onto that. Damon White hobbled off, but he's back into that back line now. Wyman setting up from about 47. Well, they need this. It's an understatement. They haven't been too good in front of goal. Got close to the man on the mark, did Wyman, and hit the post. I think he might have hit the post a couple of times, and it's been a wretched day in front of goal for the Roosters.
Yeah, it's been pretty ordinary up forward for North, but you just see that when they can get their clean, quick ball movement, they look really dangerous. They just really need to finish off with those goals, and they've had 5 or 6 opportunities again this quarter to finish it and just haven't been able to put the score on the board.
Matthew Wright, 12 disposals for the quarter, 30 for the match.
Sloan intercepting the Eagles' centering kick. His own centering kick now is pretty good to Wyman. He's got Wright for support, but he can just go straight at goal. Nobody came to him. Wyman steadies from 48 and again sprays it. Oh dear, it is now an illness which is spreading quickly through the entire Roosters lineup.
It is a confidence thing. You start to miss goals and then you start to put a little bit more pressure on yourself than you normally would. Normally a Jaron Wyman, who's a terrific finisher in front of goal, normally would just relax, lay back on that and put it through the middle. But just the pressure of the situation, it just hurts you.
1 goal for to Wyman, and here's an opportunity for Rory Sloan. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, but boy, oh boy, some of the kicking out today has been pretty average by both teams.
Yeah, just needed to give the kick a little bit more air. You just see he tried to really punch it, and if you don't get those kicks 100% on the money, then they are going to turn around and hurt you.
It was James Stewart, who's feeling like he could find a disused well and jump in it. Here's Rory Sloan. From 40, interesting ball drop, and he continues the goal-kicking carnage as they continue to butcher the footy in front of goal.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to a footy side when you know you've got all the play. They've probably had the better of the quarter, but the difference being Eagles have finished in front of goal, and a bit like Glenelg last year, we just couldn't capitalise in front of goal, and it does hurt you.
And if you've just joined us, that's not some sort of effect on the screen. Yes, the sun is shining. It's a perfect day, and yet North Adelaide have kicked 4 goals 13 for the after. 4 goals 16. I don't want to drill the point too much, but to three-quarter time, it's the Eagles better in front of goal. 12-3-75 to North Adelaide 4-16-40.
Yeah, as we've mentioned all day, North's inability to kick goals has just really hurt them. Eagles are the complete opposite up there. We see the ball go forward. Scotty Welsh been able to take a couple of uncontested marks and finish with goals. And at the other end, North have had all the play. They're moving the ball quite well at times, but just really need to finish off in front of goal. We've seen Jaron Wyman have a couple of shots, hit the post 2 or 3 times. But just that's the only area. Their ball movement, their ability to win the footy's there. They just really need to concentrate and finish in front of goal. And I'm sure that's something Daniel Healy will speak about at three-quarter time.
And again, just the accuracy of North Adelaide in the quarter. We'll start with Adam Grokey's goal, but, you know, in that quarter, they've added 5 goals straight. And meanwhile, North Adelaide have managed to kick 1 goal 8.
It tends to happen that way. The play that the team that does have all the play, they work really hard. They move the ball forward, and then their inability to control the footy. They made 3 or 4 really silly turnovers across their half-back line, and the Eagles have been able to capitalise it. And we just see that Scotty Welsh has taken 2 or 3 uncontested marks at the top of the goal square, and that's the difference in the two sides at the moment.
Well, there were stages in that quarter. They got it back to around that 20-point mark, North Adelaide, and we thought, well, you know, they'd conceded the first goal of the quarter, having trailed by 19 at half-time, but they came back into the contest, and we thought, well, they're a big chance here, but they kept just giving away easy possessions, and the Eagles far more efficient going forward, as we see here.
Yeah, look, they've had enough opportunities to put score on the board, but I mean, it's the one thing that's hampered them all day. It's just their ability, as we see the goal kickers come on now. They just haven't been able to kick goals.
Yeah, so that margin at quarter time, 5 points in favour of the Eagles, and then it was out to 19 at half-time. And then in the third quarter, it's been stretched to 35, and it's basically courtesy of the Roosters' inaccuracy in front of goal. Welsh up forward, Cheap and Grokey with the multiples for the Eagles, and just all singles to the right of screen there for the Roosters. Well, we're going to have a word to one of the Roosters who actually is a sharpshooter, or Heath Uni, and Heath Uni, very important to them over a long period of time. At one stage he was on the West Coast rookie list, never quite made it at the AFL, but a classy player certainly at this level.
Yeah, look, he's one of those guys that, as you said, he's one that really can capitalise in front of goal. He's a dangerous player. He doesn't need to get too many touches of the footy, but he does hurt you. Another one they are missing today is a Lee Riswick, who gives them that drive and run and can kick a long goal. But as you mentioned, Unit's just a terrific player and finishes well.
And Heath joins us now. And Heath, very disappointing for you. Injuries have cost you probably more games this season than ever before.
Yeah, boys, it certainly has. It was a disappointing start to the year for me. I missed a couple of trial games with the calf, and then finally got some fitness under my belt, and then come down awkwardly on the ankle about 4 weeks ago and tore a front ligament. But hopefully I started running last night, which is a good sign, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can get back out there and help the boys.
We're not to that dreaded stage where you talk about ankle reconstructions, are we?
No, certainly. I seen a surgeon during the week and he gave the all clear that I can start to do some work on it, and hopefully after last night it was some good signs and I can get back out on the track and do some work.
Heath, we see the side today. Obviously, opportunities in front of goal haven't come, but how much is the side missing a guy like a Daniel Elstone who's come to the club over the off-season and just adds that bit of grunt and toughness around the footy?
Oh, certainly. That's one area that we've really focused on over the pre-season is our inside stoppage work, and Daniel Elstone, that's one player we needed, and we brought him to the footy club. So certainly today against the likes of Sikalila, Treeby, we certainly missed Daniel.
Just going forward, your view from the sideline, you know, you've really struggled to get that direct forward movement. Now, is that more a case of you've lost confidence in going to the right players or the right places, or is it because the Eagles have been so good defensively?
Oh, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. Certainly, Eagles have put a lot of pressure on us when we're going forward, and the way the footy's played in the modern day is that teams get numbers back and run that sort of zone football, they call it these days, so it makes it hard to go through attack. So the key to that is bringing the ball on quickly, and we haven't done that as well as we could have today.
Heath, one of the other notable things that I've picked up here is the 18-man zone that you guys have implemented from the kickouts. Is that something that Daniel Healy's brought to the club this season that you've been working on, or is it something that you've been working on for the last year or two?
Oh, it's certainly the last couple of years. You would have seen North Adelaide as an attacking team and wanted to bring the ball on quickly. So Daniel identified as a defensive area we need to work on. The rolling zones, the 18-man zones is something that's come into football. We sort of try to use them, but certainly at other times we want to go man on man and try to turn the ball over that way as well.
I hate to harp on these coaching issues, but Heath, look, the other thing I want to ask you about Daniel is how much time generally are you spending on trying to get around zones as opposed to creating them yourselves?
Oh, we work on trying to get through them, definitely. A number of things we work on at training is that, but we believe that if you get the ball in your hands and move it on quickly, we can overcome those zones. So we tend to work on more so getting the ball on quick and getting our hands on the footy. So first possession in this day and age is a key stat, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you get the key stat of being able to get back on the field for a start, Heath. So good luck with your recovery, and hopefully we'll see you again this season.
Cheers for that.
Heath Uni there. A great record as a player at North Adelaide. And we go now down to Sodas, who's been listening in all this time at the two huddles.
I have, and fortunately I've got with me here Eagles assistant coach Kim Hodgman. Now, Kim, I've got to say, so far so good.
Oh, it is so good, but, you know, they had 13 inside 50s in that quarter, and, yeah, we just didn't play very well.
But you've obviously on the scoreboard, the goal kicking has been sensational from you. Let down for them, but what's the message now in this last term?
Oh, the message is to keep running, work really hard. I mean, we've got the forwards to kick, you know, 5 or 6 goals in this quarter, and that's what we've got to do.
Structurally, you made any changes?
No.
All right, good on you, mate. Thanks for that.
Got the sense he wasn't going to tell us anyway. Let's have a look through those stats to three-quarter time.
Yeah, look, the stats have been quite even all day. The main ones that we look at, inside 50, centre breaks, they're really even. The underlying factor is just North's inability to finish in front of goal. They've had more scoring shots, but as we see, Eagles have been terrific, and North just haven't been able to capitalise.
Quick look around the other two games being played at the moment, and Central's by 64 points over Port Adelaide, who are coming off their first win of the year, so they'd be disappointed. They beat the Panthers, who currently are losing to West by 20 points. And that match last night, 67 in favour of Norwood. And the Eagles by 35 points as we go to Michael Maney for the final term here at Woodville.
Thanks, Neil. Kim Hodgman, what a player Kim Hodgman was. I can remember watching him as a young kid. So poised, beautifully balanced footballer, and wasn't giving anything away at three-quarter time. Well done, Kim. Last quarter, can North Adelaide make a game of it? They trail by close to 6 goals. Up goes Gilhouse in the ruck. Allen couldn't collect it with hand, so went by foot. O'Hara in hard was right. Ball funnels out the back. Lewis also in hard. Treby got the kick away. High. Boris at the front. Welsh, one grab, two, couldn't take it. All done by Gorman. Spread it to the back. Gill, who's now playing in the back line, ducked the head. Gone in the tackle. Umpire said it was held. And Nick Gill.
Yeah, an interesting move by Daniel Healy to throw Gilly back there. I guess the Eagles' 4 tall targets down there are getting on top, so just throwing him back there to see if he may be able to get some run and drive from Nick Gill.
Ivans knocks it to the line, close to it, and goes again with Jay Cheap there. Ball close to the line. The umpire might just call for it again. And Chris, we're on some world record times here for different things happening today statistically.
Oh, Michael, it's a very exciting day here in the stats. I can hardly contain myself, actually. We've had 49 free kicks in the match. The Eagles have taken 84 marks, North Adelaide 70. The leading possession getters, Allen 31, Wright on 30 for North. For the Eagles, 26 for Jared, 22 to Ormond, and there's plenty more to come, boys.
Here's Powell. He might just kick a goal. It's gone across the face and missed everything, has it? Or he might have just snuck it through. This could be a wonderful goal from Powell. Well, the goal umpire did me. He went about 45 metres to his left, Brett, but he put it through.
He ran a long way, but we just see here Lukey Powell one of those guys that you just never rule out of a contest. Hits it hard, attacks it, backs himself in, and finished with a, I won't say a great goal, but probably lucky that it floated through.
It's a game-high margin now, 41 points. And you'd suggest if there was any doubt about the result, that's probably done North Adelaide, but they just need to get some confidence out of this. To half-time, they only had 2 marks inside 50. They had 7 marks in that third quarter, but as we know, they just didn't put the score on the board. Sikalella away from the centre break. Ivans leading Lewis. Overran it. Oh, Jared was brilliant. As he was falling backwards, great hand pass to Lewis. The son did Welsh, and then Welsh did his opponent, and then fed it off for Cheap, who should be able to gather, and this should be a goal, and it is. Another one for the Eagles. Just to ram that nail into the coffin. 47 the margin now, and this has become a walloping for North Adelaide.
Yeah, as we saw then, Scotty Lewis is such a terrific finisher. Great hands on the boundary line by Lukey Jarrett, but the son here, Scotty Welsh just completely lost it, but was able to regather, finish it over to Little Cheapy, and Jay Cheap, one of those guys in the competition that's always bobs up around for his 1 or 2, but you know, just a terrific finish, and the Eagles really start to get on top, and North really need just to lock down now, get control of the footy, because this could get really ugly.
Yes, knew where the goals were. Jay Cheap just got around and snapped a wonderful goal. Both the ruckman had a piece of that. Sikalella paving the way for James Stewart. Teasdale desperate to get it to Wright, who fumbled, and Gilhouse is on him, and we'll get another ball up.
Michael, you may have noticed that Andrew McIntyre hasn't returned. The club sort of changed their tune on him, said that he was sort of badly winded, could come back on. He's actually gone off to have some scans after that knock he got into the stomach.
They just have done a rib or two. There's Sloan, Powell, who kicked that beautiful goal, the 1 minute mark of the last quarter. He'll win a free kick. It's against Delvins for a push. Away to James Stewart. This time the kick is brilliant. Out to Roundtree, who's had a bounce. Thought about another, ran his full measure, and then boots inside 50, over the back. Here's Jay Cheap. He may just get goal number 4 as he dribbles it through Stephen Milne style. And the umpires paid a free kick back here. Is it going to go to Jay Schultz? Surely that penalises the Eagles.
It gets me why the umpires don't pay that advantage. If it was anywhere else in the ground, they would have paid the advantage. Clearly, none of the players stopped. Jay Cheap had a clear run in the goal, and just a call by the umpires that they normally would let go if it wasn't inside the 50.
Well, if Schultz misses, it's clearly no advantage to them at all. And here he goes. From 47, the kick didn't deviate. Lovely kick from Jay Schultz.
He's one of those players, Jay Schultz, that if we watch his run up here in the replay, he's got a really awkward, I guess his first 3 or 4 steps, the way he holds the ball is a little bit different to most guys, but obviously it's something he's worked on over the last 3 or 4 years with Richmond and now at Port Adelaide, and as we saw there, he's a terrific finisher of the ball.
My understanding of that ruling in the SANFL is the umpires are instructed that once the ball's inside 50, don't play on advantage. Under any circumstances, don't take the chance. Which, I don't know, any good umpire surely would have judged that that was an advantage in that situation, but it worked out for the Eagles anyway, and I don't think it was going to make a difference in this match as they romp away through Allman, long and high. A punch come away from Welsh. He looked like he had a good sit in that situation. Roundtree against the flow, and umpire will come in, and we'll get a ball up. So 53 the margin. It's really getting ugly for the Roosters. Remembering they are down a couple of personnel on the bench, which means that it's hard for them to use the rotations that perhaps Daniel Healy would like. Here's another opportunity for the Eagles. Cheap, looking to be clever. Oh, he almost got it too. Boris coming this side of the ground. Bit of open space to use for Delvins. Has to make this kick count, and he does. Bennett takes his time, but look, the Eagles have shut down this wing fairly well. There's nothing much available for him. He's forced to kick high. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Gilhouse with the punch down, and Allman away again for the Eagles.
Allman spotted a couple of teammates on the outer side. Free kick against Teesdale. Not a bad free kick to give, actually. He was outnumbered there. Free kick goes to Roundtree. Roundtree wants to give it off by hand. Treby looped it to Lewis. Lewis had to be quick hands back to Roundtree. Eagles going forward again. Out on the lead is Schultz. One grab, can't take it. Gorman there. Goldsworthy. He's pretty nippy. Can he keep it in? No, just ran it out. Ran out of space on the outer side. Matthew Goldsworthy always in and around, crumbing away. Boundary throw in, 7 minutes gone, 53 points the margin. It's been a bit of a shellacking. Both ruckmen just going to their knees. Gorman tried to feed it out. Powell just chopped it off close to the line, and James Allen says, let's set it up for another stoppage here. A lot of sting gone out of the game, and we're just 7 minutes into the last, so I think it's all about how North Adelaide can run it out, because the Eagles are pretty intent in building some percentage here. Brokey knocked it down. Powell has kicked one in this quarter. It's a high floater. It's curling back for a goal. Two brilliant goals from Luke Powell, who's not a real noted goal kicker, but it's out to 59 points, 1 point shy of 10 goals. And I think that's a pretty true reflection of this game as it's panning out.
Yeah, look, we spoke about Daniel Elstone not being out there for North Adelaide, but Lukey Powell's one of those guys around the stoppage. He's so strong in the body, super clean hands, and just read that off the hands a lot better than most, and was able to finish with a check side punt around the corner, and he's second for the quarter. North just need to go and get a man and get control of some footy. At the moment, Eagles are just running loose and doing what they want. Daniel Healy would be pretty upset, I'd think, at the moment with the way that this quarter's panning out.
Since half-time, Eagles 9 straight, North Adelaide 1-8.
Tail of the tape certainly told there, Alloway almost gave him the absolute hospital. Ball down to half foot. Delvin's vision was good. Wyman couldn't get the kick away effectively. Sloane crowded in over the ball. Umpire said mine. So a little bit of push and shove still going on in there. Umpire Colin Ralston having words, telling people what he expects. Alloway and Gilhouse and Wyman just through the pack. Bennett's kick was smothered. Oh, Wyman went in hard on Treby. And now Sloane feeds it out nicely. Williams closing on goal, and he sneaks it in for another point. And Jared goes back and says, gee, that's not the first time that's happened to you, the old Roosters, this afternoon.
Just again, we see North. They just need to be able to get someone to finish. It's that mindset thing again. Eagles can't miss a goal. At the other end, North just can't buy one. So really disappointing afternoon for North.
Geddes couldn't quite get on the end of it and fumbled it away to the line. Yes, it's all in all the Eagles. Daniel Stewart kicked their last goal, North Adelaide, at the 12-minute mark of the second term.
That was North's first inside 50 for the quarter and James Allen's first disposal for the quarter.
So I suppose we're almost 10 minutes in, so that's a bit of a record in itself. Another record to tumble, Chris. Here's Sikalella taken to ground and a ball up.
Michael, there's more records falling than a music shop collapse at the moment.
Yes. We still call them records. You notice that? They haven't made vinyl for a long time. Out the back, Delvins gives it to James Allen for his second disposal in the quarter. Kicks high. Stewart can't take the mark. Over the back. Salter's been pushed back because he got a bit bored up forward, not kicking goals. Here's Geddes. Geddes goes long. That is a magnificent kick. And Roundtree had to wait for it. The handball to Jared. They really open it up. Jared's had a bounce. He could have another one if he likes. He goes into the pocket. Welsh is on the lead. Too far for him, and also Schultz. Ball just spills to the back. And a free kick. It'll go to Boris for Scotty Welsh, just sliding into his back. Boris has kicked an ugly looking ball to find Nick Gill, and Nick Gill chances his arm on a left footer, Neil Cross, and found a target.
Yeah, I don't know what you were worried about. Effective disposal is right, goes for Allen, and Gill is now on the end of that. Just chips it up. Platten did well. Now he's forced to stop. Wyman in a little bit of space. He doesn't need much, and there he goes. He takes off, and his kick was pretty good. Low and hard to White. White inside 50. Alloway free. And Alloway can go back and have a shot from 35 metres. So that, one of the first times in the afternoon, they moved the ball quickly, they moved it effectively, and things opened up forward for them.
Yeah, they have shown that when they do move the ball quick, they do get themselves in scoring opportunities. But again, the underlying factor today, as we've mentioned 1,000 times, is they just haven't been able to finish on the scoreboard.
Clint Alloway, 1 goal for the afternoon becomes 2, but he's also sprayed the ball considerably on other occasions. Not a lot of celebrations there from Alloway, and the Rooster fans certainly gave him the rounds of the kitchen in realising that he'd actually kicked a goal.
Yeah, it's disappointing for North, but they have shown signs that they are able to move the ball quickly and get the ball into positions where they can score goals. No doubt at some stage during the week, Daniel Healy will be doing a fair bit of goal-kicking practice, I would have thought, with his senior squad.
Yeah, I don't think there's much doubt about that. They've missed so many easy goals too. It's not as if some of them have been difficult. They've sort of been bread and butter goals they've missed. Gilhouse off the ground. Matthew Wright just fell awkwardly too in the middle of the ground. He's just getting up now. Roundtree, been a consistent player for them. Out looking for Goldsworthy, but Stribling was good enough to knock it to the line. And once again, it's just outside 50 for the Eagles, who continue to push.
The disappointing thing is that North haven't actually played that bad. They've had their opportunities, they've moved the ball well at times, but just their inability to finish has just really hurt them today, and something that needs to be fixed, because as we've said, they do move the ball so quick and so fast, and they've got their targets up forward that can kick goals, but today it's just gone haywire.
Bit of work being done by Alloway and Grokey even before they get to the ruck contest. Short throw in. Gill was the man to take the ruck. Is the umpire going to... No, Irlo, it's on again. We've got a couple of blokes in the book already, so the game's pretty much over, so don't really understand this. The umpire's just going to throw it up, is he, and just let it go?
Adam Grokey lost his shirt in there. One bloke out there that probably doesn't mind losing his shirt, Sodas.
Showing a bit of pictorial work.
I think he took it off himself. The Hulk style.
He won't be in a hurry to put it back on, that's for sure.
Who did we see? We saw John Rambo last week, which was Adam Koshel. And Grokey trying to do a Rambo. Here's Damon White. Boots it long. O'Hara, I thought, was being held. No free kick. Getty, in fact, it was Salter. And they go. And the umpire said holding the ball. And it's a free kick to the Eagles. And who's the player to emerge? It's Bennett. The free kick will go to Geddes. Geddes goes out wide and finds James Stewart, who's got Lee Treby, but the umpire said you crept around one blade of grass and you've got to play on.
Down towards Welsh. Umpire, what did he do? Ruled it was in the back, apparently, that time. The offender, Boris, and so Welsh down the line. Great kick for Grokey, who's come right over in front of the Rooster bench and the fans. Look out, we might see some more go on here. No, very subdued Nick Gill and taking him over the line. So it'll be thrown in again, just to rev up the crowd. So Hill looked like he was being held by Alloway. It'll go to Hill, I think, for holding. And umpire coming in. And now off the ball, as he spotted this is a kick. I was going to say it is to Hill, isn't it? Clint Alloway wanted to maybe go to the Commonwealth Games as a wrestler based on that. Schultz being held as well. Gorman the offender. So this game just becoming a little ragged. And the Eagles with a very comfortable 52-point advantage. Schultz called on Welsh for the lead and then honoured the lead with a nice pass, and Welsh will go back having exerted himself with the reward of getting a chance to kick a goal.
Just the one difference today is if you look at the goal scorers for both sides, Eagles, they're big key forwards.
We'll just get a view of what the other end of the ground is like. The players being almost in this situation sucked up the ground by the couple of incidents that have happened. Scott Welsh, meanwhile, just lobs through the goal. So that margin out to 58 points, and the Eagles' banners are flying very high this afternoon. They'll walk away, and you see there again, Jay Schultz just signalling, okay, I've got time to tell you where to go, just go there and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, just a real lack of defensive pressure by North Adelaide in that scenario. Jay Schultz, who's not the greatest use of the footy, just had so much time and space from the marker, and Scotty Welsh far too much space to run into. And we've seen North all day push numbers behind the ball, but just haven't been able to fill those holes. And Scotty Welsh is that smart. He knows where to run and when to run, and just his timing on that lead was superb.
Brett, you were just talking about the North Key forwards. Stewart, 8 disposals, 4 marks. Alloway, 9 disposals, 7 marks.
Just got to get more of the ball. Powell, he knows how to get it to Jared, to James Stewart, who kicks out looking for Goldsworthy. Under a bit of pressure. Did okay. Stribling on hands and knees was a little better. Platten, gave it to Sloan and then got it back and then gave it to Ivans. Ivans to the outer side to Williams v Roundtree, and Williams kept his eye on the footy. Showed a bit, Williams. Likes a bit of a dust-up. Awkward kicking style. Sat it on the head of Wyman. Just allowed the Eagles to come from behind. Here's Mackenzie to Lewis, away to Treby. Treby down the line. He's okay. And finds Banner. Banner kicks long to a pack situation in the mark.
Schultz over the back, all on his own here.
Brokey, does he see him? Goes long. The kick to Schultz. Couldn't hold the mark. Or was he paid the mark? Or some interference. A free kick. We're on record pace for free kicks. What are we up to?
We are at 60, which is currently the season record.
Season record 60. Umpire Tony Day and Colin Rouston in particular.
Just the free kick there. Rory Sloan, no eyes on the footy. They gave away a silly free kick to Jay Schultz, who was all on his own at the top of the goal square.
Schultz. Oh, that goal umpire worries me down that end. He keeps on running to the left, but Schultz has popped it through, and the lead is 64, and Jay Schultz, who's been pretty handy today, gets his second.
Just again, we see Adam Grokey with a quick kick in. Jay Schultz has left his opponent and dropped back into space, and North Adelaide just no awareness of where their opponents are. They've all pushed up towards the footy, and he just snuck out the back, and he was there for a long time before anyone picked him up.
Penetrating kick too from Grokey, wasn't it? Low and hard.
He just had the awareness to be able to get back off the mark quicker and see his vision was great. He lifted his eyes and was able to hit the kick to Schultz, who was one out in the goal square.
So Eagles again, March 4, Lewis. And there's that contest between Gill and Grokey. Gill gets it away from Grokey. Thompson couldn't handle it. And now we get a ball up. Just noticed off the ball before that contest between Gill and Grokey that Gill was trying to annoy Grokey. It seems a bit late, nearly 20 minutes into the last quarter, but he was determined to stay with him. In the end, he won that particular contest. Slowed towards the line, and we'll get a ball up, or ball in, at least.
It's the most disappointing for the day. It's just North's, I guess, aggression in this last quarter. They had a fair bit to come out and play, keep the score respectable. They haven't been that bad, but this last 10 minutes especially, it's just been ordinary. They've just lost that desire to play footy, and you should never let the scoreboard, I guess, dictate terms.
Well, North Adelaide lost all 3 games to the Eagles last season, most notably the preliminary final by 11 points, but it was only 17 points and 8 points, the margins in the other 2 games. So it was close all season. And we thought North Adelaide may have improved this season, but in an SANFL year where who can pick them? I mean, North Adelaide's beaten Sturt. They got smashed by Centrals. Sturt beat Centrals. And Glenelg's got beaten by Norwood. And the only loss for the Eagles was South Adelaide. And North Adelaide kicked their biggest score of the season, 25 goals against South Adelaide.
And again, the North Adelaide Glenelg game, if it wasn't for their goal kicking again, I think they kicked 1 goal 9 in the second half. They would have come away with the points. So just a few areas they really need to tighten up. And again, just that consistency week in, week out in such a strong competition.
Bennett and White had the ball knocked away from him. And to add insult, I think he might have been trod on accidentally. Geddes' vision was pretty well spot on, and he'll come back. You get a free kick. He was pushed in the back. He knew he had Banner there, and as he went to get the ball, he immediately released it. And again, his vision pretty good. Execution perfect at cheap. So they've opened it up on the far side of the ground. Grokey on a long lead. Stewart's pass will fall short. Gill did well to get to the front, and they took it over the line. Yes, out on the far side of the oval with shadows lengthening across the ground. 21 minutes into the final quarter, and it's comfortable for the Eagles here, and Centrals leads Port very comfortably by 73 points just down the road at Albert, and Westies by 21 points over the Panthers down at Noarlunga.
Jay Cheap did some smart work, kept it in. He was out, ball was in. And well done by Boris just to keep that ball in front of him, and it'll be a ball in. He's stuck to his guns all day, Boris. He's had plenty of opportunity to get the footy because he's played in the back half. Ball flicks out, Ivans looking for Stribling, Allen, and it hits the line again. Just some skill errors, just need to tighten up by foot and hand. That man's kept on running all day, but sometimes you don't get any help through the midfield. Archard's not in there, so not too much opportunity to rotate off the bench either with a couple of blokes.
He's tried his hard out again today, Jimmy Allen. And as you said, without the likes of the Reece Arsards, Daniel Elstone, Lee Riswick's another one. So he's just had to carry too much workload on his own. And unfortunately for Jimmy Allen, he just doesn't have enough mates around him to help him out.
Delvins to Sloan on the outer side. Crows will be happy the way Sloan's come back from injury. Kicks high. White's up against a couple. Gilhouse got to the front. And I think you'll get a free kick for a bit of a nudge. The big fella, the former Glenelg player in Morphettville Park.
You won't see Big Sebby kicking the footy too often either.
No, I watched him in the warm-up, Brett, and it didn't look... It looked a little bit Brett O'Hara-ish.
But to his credit, though, he has worked very hard on his kicking. But yeah, I still wouldn't be backing him in from that far out.
5 metres out directly in front. Apparently kicks a lot better than Mark Soderstrom. I don't know whether you ever witnessed Mark getting a kick in this AFL footy, but I think he played.
The ball down to the goal square again for North Adelaide. Can they break through for just a consolation? That's all it can be at this stage of the game. Jared, though, was clever. Banner was in space. He put it in front of Treby. He'll be done for pace if he actually picks it up because Tristan Thompson is quick. You know his brother Wade is even quicker. So, ball in the interchange area. It'll be thrown in. O'Hara. Disappointing game, 150 for Brett O'Hara. Wyman taken to ground. Treby now. Powell. He'll go over the top for Welsh. No, he won't. He'll scrub the kick back into centre field. Grokey full-chested onto it. Still going, and Gill got him and took him down for holding the ball. Well, I thought Grokey had handballed it before Nick Gill got to him. The umpire saw it differently.
Yeah, just blindsided there, Colin Rouse. Couldn't quite see that Grokes did get his handball away.
Gill to Sloan, who looks to the far side to Stribling. And the two blondes work it out pretty well. Stribling bouncing his way towards forward 50 for Alloway. Alloway wants to play on quickly. Oh, gee, the disposal left something to be desired. Damon White gave away a soft free kick. It matters not because here come the Eagles rebounding out of defence.
Treby over the top to Allman. Back to Treby, who ran into Delvins, and Delvins just tackled him when he'd got rid of the ball. And another couple in a loving embrace down there. They've really tried to get close to each other today, the players. And the umpires have had their hands full. There's been more spot fires than we've ever seen.
Boys, 4 more marks and the Eagles have 100.
Let's have a look here. Wyman just over the top with overzealous stuff.
Yeah, not great by little Jaron Wyman there.
No. Here's Roundtree, played on, had nowhere to go. Then a real wobbly ball. Opportunity for Schultz, desperate to get it to Grokey. He's wearing number 32, had the other one torn off him. In goes Banner. Hasn't had that big a day, Mitch Banner. Let's have a look at Wyman. Really whack. There you go.
You just see Lee Treby caught sight of out the corner of his eye too, and then came in to remonstrate afterwards.
Meanwhile, ball just goes high, and it's a behind. And it was Lewis, who's an Eagles fan. He may be pretty happy with the way things have gone today. 65 points the margin.
The Eagles will take their season record to 5 wins and 1 loss. Umpire now has spotted what? He's spotted. Well, it must have been a free kick off the ball.
Against
Darren
Wyman, I think it was.
Yeah, it'll go on the edge of the goal square. It'll go to Schultz.
Scotty
or maybe,
Lewis.
no, Schultz wants to raffle it. Hang
Scotty
on.
Lewis, I think, will get the free kick here.
Right on the umpire. So that'll go forward because of the offence happening back down the ground. It'll go forward to the closest position to where the ball was. Schultz playing silly, and gee whiz, that was just too smart between the two Eagles players there. Mitch Banner trying to kick the ball over his head, and in the end it was a minor score as Wyman comes to the bench. As we look just again at, they just got a little carried away there, the Eagles, I think.
Yes, Wyman gets the wind up from the Eagles crowd, and you hear a lot about brain fade sometimes, and here's Schultz. I reckon he might just try and hammer this off the ground. They go in hard, Lewis, but what was Jay Schultz doing?
Just on that last one, I know Mickey Godden quite well from his days at West Adelaide and Glenelg, and he will be absolutely filthy about that. No matter what the score is, it's just unexcusable to be doing party tricks in a game of footy at this level.
Yeah, wasn't good. And it's a boundary throw-in, so it's been just one of those weird days today at Woodville Oval. And here's Schultz, had a bit of hang in it. That was the problem. Probably just needed to be off to the side. We could run into it, run into a bit of space and dodge around. But like you say, Brett, inexcusable to be doing that when you're 15 metres out or less directly in front.
Big second half for Scott Lewis, boys. 16 disposals in the second half, 27 for the match.
He's accumulated. Here he goes again. Got the kick away, and it's just off target, is it? Pushed through. No, it's hit the behind post. It will be a boundary throw.
One of those players too, Scotty Lewis, that you know when he does get it, he's going to use it, because he is, as I said, he's probably the best kick in the competition. He's one of those guys that left footer, kicks with a lot of penetration, but just weights the ball so well and always to the advantage of his teammates.
66 points the margin. And Welsh, oh gee, was half a step from getting that ball onto the boot. He just fumbled at the wrong time and read it brilliantly off the hands of the ruckman. 20 metres out from goal. Maybe a late chance here for the Eagles. Ivans cleared it away, and that was ruled not to be 15, and Treby held, and umpire Colin Ralston will come in. Treby had put himself in front, and the errant kick coming out from Luke Ivans. Treby again, over the shoulder. Thompson sitting under it, and finally across the line for the minor score. Schultz coming in late for the spectacular. Tried that before, didn't quite work. So, closing moments of this match. 67 the margin in favour of the home team, and they have dominated the second half, at least on the scoreboard.
Short kick finds Williams. Williams speeds away. Gilhouse got a mitt on it. Alloway missed it. Sloan on hands and knees. Teasdale caught up in the tackle. And it'll be a ball up. Game in its death throw. So any positive out of this game, Brett, for North Adelaide? You'd have to question
look, they've had
notice.
enough scoring opportunities, and I'm not sure on the inside 50s at the moment, but they've put themselves in positions to kick goals, but just haven't been able to finish. So they will take positives. The disappointing thing is the way they finished off this last quarter. I think Daniel Healy will be really disappointed with the way they've gone about it. But you know, the first three quarters, there were some positives there for them.
They've gone inside 53 times less than the Eagles, and they're 67 points behind. That's a reflection of their poor kicking. Here's Banner. Delvin's had to get out of the way. Into the 30th minute, Banner decides to just kick it back to Stewart.
That's mark number 100, boys.
Here's Salter. This is a little bit of a training drill. Get the cones out. And there's the siren. Put the game out of its misery. And the Eagles have won by 67 points. And there'll be a bit of work being done during the week, I think, at the tribunal and all sorts of things. It was a pretty tough match. 18-6, 114. The Eagles, North Adelaide, 5-17, 47. 5-17 to 18-6. What a reflection.
Yeah, well, you'd have to say that, look, it was comprehensive by the Eagles, no doubt about that. And North Adelaide would be just frustrated more than anything at their ineptitude.
Yeah, look, their first three quarters, they they were up to scratch. Their ball movement was sharp. At times they made some silly turnovers, which the Eagles really capitalised and hurt them. But just their inability, as we've said all day, to kick goals. And you know, at this level, if you don't finish off on those goals, then it's really going to hurt you. And you know, the Eagles were terrific. They moved the ball at times with a lot of speed and a lot of skill, and they were able to finish off with their opportunities.
Let's have a look at some of the work of Jay Cheap this afternoon. You mentioned good, honest little player. 10 marks and 18 possessions and 3 goals. A very good afternoon for him.
Yeah, really important to their structure. With the 3 or 4 tools they've got down there, they need those little blokes to bob up and down, and he's always around the mark and can finish. And he's with Sotos right now.
Well, Jay, congratulations on the win. Despite the margin on the scoreboard, it looked a lot more physical and a lot more tougher than we've seen here.
Yeah, we knew North would be coming out pretty hard because they'd had a, you know, they just lost to Glenelg and then they got touched up by Centrals last week and it was a tough game. So we respect their club and we knew they'll come out and, yeah, there was a lot of physical in it, but it was good to get the win in the end.
It did get physical, especially in that, I suppose, the second half, late in that second quarter too. But you guys held your heads pretty well.
Yeah, we did. We got a lot of, you know, the older heads like Sikalala, and we got Welshie now, and they seem to calm all the boys down, and they're a real good focus for us. So, yeah, they help.
Now, Jay, just personally with you, obviously on your second year here, I think a bit of a tough pre-season for you the last year, but certainly a great pre-season this year's put you in a good spot.
Yeah, Godsey just wanted me to work a bit harder from the last year that I was here. So, yeah, he's helped my game a lot and, put a lot of faith in me. So, yeah, I just had to work hard.
Found some goals. I think another 3 today. 4 against Sturt a couple of weeks ago when you hurt your ankle. So in front of goals, it's been nice too.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's coming off. It's all the hard work up the ground, the midfield, and we share it around in the forward line, so it always helps.
What about your time in South Australia, crossing over from Geelong in the VFL? You enjoying it here at Woodville?
Yeah, I love the boys. Just trying to get used to Adelaide living, a bit quieter than Melbourne and Geelong, but nah, it's good. I love it. Love the boys. So yeah, that's it.
It's a good thing, mate. If it's quiet to keep you out of trouble. Well done, Jay.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Jay Cheap there, I think he mentioned Melbourne. Yeah, Adelaide's quieter than Melbourne, but I think he said and Geelong. Adelaide's quieter than Geelong. I don't know about that.
That's a pretty big statement. I guess over the last few years with Geelong being so successful at the AFL, you know, they may have stepped it up a gear down in the Sleepy Hollow of Geelong. But yeah, look, he was fantastic today. Finished with 3 goals and just a really strong effort by Jay Cheap up forward.
Jay Schultz in his debut in league football for the Eagles this afternoon, of course, playing plenty of AFL footy, but he being applauded off the ground, and his debut this afternoon, a winning one it was for Jay Schultz. Of course, he was picked up from the juniors here at the Eagles, then taken across to Richmond, and then, of course, to Port Adelaide. So he's played a lot of AFL footy and a lot of experience in a body that is turning out for the first time in Eagles colours.
Yeah, look, he was fantastic. Along with Scotty Welsh up forward, you know, they were the 2 real strong focal points. Nick Solder was a little bit quiet, got moved down back, but Jay Schultz presented really well all day. Did a lot of work up the ground as well, which will be good for his fitness, and I'm sure Port Adelaide will take notice. And I can't see it being too long before he's back in the blue and teal and the black and teal and running around with Port Adelaide.
Well, you wonder, does the competition itself take the Eagles seriously? Because they have started brilliantly this season. They've now got 5 wins and 1 loss. They will be retaining that top position on the ladder. And I thought they were about to start the song. Michael Godden must think that footy's pretty easy, and as a coach, don't you think?
He's done well. He's come from a premiership last year with the Glenelg Reserves, and now sitting on top of the table with a terrific outfit. And they've still got players to come back in. I think that the one area they really have advantage on the other sides is their midfield. If you throw Craig Parry into that mix, they're going to be outstanding. So they'll be looking to get him back into the side as soon as they can.
Yeah, it was look, the story of the afternoon. Eagles far too efficient for North Adelaide. That was the bottom line, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, North just made some costly turnovers across the centre of the ground, and against the side with the players of the ilk of a Scotty Lewis and Lee Treby, Luke Jarrett, Mark McKenzie, you could just go on forever. Justin Sicolella's another one. So their forwards really had a feast today. Their ball movement was sharp and crisp from defence. And look, North tried to sit numbers behind the ball and slow them up, but they just left far too many holes, and the Eagles were able to capitalise on their mistakes.
We see there one of the rare goals, as it turned out, for North Adelaide, with Wyman kicking that goal, the 21-minute mark of the opening term. By that time, they already had 7 minor scores on the board. Clint Alloway reduced the margin to just 12 points in that second term, but then the pressure started to tell, and by the time we got into the third quarter, the pressure was right on North Adelaide in front of goals. It wasn't, as you said, they did have opportunities, but because they were kept on wasting them in front of goals and the Eagles never missed, it just told on the scoreboard.
Yeah, look, they had plenty of opportunities in front of goals. I think if you take the last quarter out, they probably had more inside 50s, more scoring shots, but just their inability to finish off those goals. And what happens in a game of footy is the opposition then turns the footy over and goes down and kicks easy scores on you, which is really disheartening. We see big Daniel Stewart take a great mark there, but just over the day, the Eagles' ability to move the ball quicker and more direct, and they had those key targets up forward. Scotty Welsh kicked 4 goals, outstanding.
Daniel Stewart kicking that goal, yes, that was their only goal, and it was marked right on the goal line, so he could hardly miss it. It was their only goal of the third quarter, and that told the story, really, because whilst the Eagles kicked 5 goals straight, North Adelaide was really struggling in front of goals, and it became somewhat of slow motion in the last quarter. The pressure had died a bit, bar for a couple of unsavoury incidents in that final term, a little bit of push and shove. Things had really died off by the time we were looking at these sort of highlights.
Yeah, just the frustration, I guess, from North Adelaide. They did play fairly well early on, as we've mentioned, but just that inability to kick goals is really frustrating for them, and you saw that in the end with a couple of silly free kicks given, and something that Daniel Healy won't be happy with.
Eagles by 5 points at quarter time, 19 at half time, 35 at three-quarter time, and winning all 4 quarters by 67 points, the final margin. We're going down to the rooms now, and Sodas has Michael Godden with him.
Very happy, Michael Godden. Now, I've got to say, 5-1, you're looking good. A big margin, but a very physical game.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, obviously, North wanted to react to their game last week, and I thought that it was matched by our guys, and it was certainly a physical game. And look, it was just good to get away with the win. I mean, it was certainly our next. We played North today, and then obviously Glenelg and Central's the next 2 weeks. So it was really important that we got away from this block of 3 with a good win.
You talked about before the game about trying to improve the ball movement. Did you see enough signs to make you happy today?
Yeah, I did. I think we, in patches, I thought we looked quite good, quite damaging. And then in the third quarter, we went back to playing the way that I don't want to play. So I think we reacted quickly to that in the last quarter. In the start of the last quarter, we started to move it, much more the way that I want them to play.
Moving into the forward line too, again, Jay Schultz, another new face there. It's almost a bit of musical chairs with you with your list at the moment. How are you going just managing that and trying to get the structure right?
Oh, look, it's quite difficult, to be honest. I mean, the good names coming back, but they don't understand what we've been doing, and it is difficult. But look, he fitted in really well today. He attacked the footy, and that's all he can do. And with Scotty Welsh up there as well, and Adam Grokey, they work as a little team. And look, I don't have to worry too much. They work it out.
North Adelaide seemed to get a lot of numbers behind the ball at times during the day. Was that the key with that movement, to try and exploit that with a turnover?
Yeah, I think the quick movement needs to be there for that. And obviously with some 4 tall forwards, if you get numbers in there, we can really just kick it on top of their heads and get to the hot spot. And, sometimes we did that. Sometimes we were able to work the arc and hit a little lead up. And that's what we need to do.
Mick, we said 5-1, sitting pretty on top of the ladder, but you mentioned too, you've got Glenelg next week, you know those boys very well, and you've got Central, so a real defining period.
Absolutely, yeah. For the club, it's been a really good start. But look, we've played a lot of home games and we've had a bit of luck in the draw, I reckon. So, yeah, our next 2 weeks are really big, and obviously with the Bays result on Friday night, I'm sure they'll be breathing fire down there at Tigerland.
Good on you, Mick. Well done today. Some very fine work from Michael Godden in the coaching box, and some fine work from Jared Almond on the ground throughout the day.
The boy from Two Wells, who was runner-up in the club best and fairest last season, won the league's Star Search Award, which is effectively the best rookie in the competition. Late start to the season, but that was through injury. He's back to his best.
Yeah, another one of those Eagles players with terrific foot skills. He's had 20 kicks, 7 handballs, and just an outstanding user. And with the likes of himself and Scotty Lewis, they're going to use it every time they get it.
And what about Flash Jarrod? Luke Jarrod came across from Williamstown in the VFL. He was hoping to make an AFL list. I think everybody does, but he hasn't found his way there after a couple of pre-seasons at Collingwood and no success. He decided to leave Williamstown, and he's been very good in the SANFL.
Yeah, look, he's another one of those guys that I guess Mickey Godden's probably thrown a new lease of life into. He normally plays across the wing through the midfield. Mickey Godden's moved him back to half-back, which just gives him a bit of free rein, and he's such a hard player to match up on. He carries the ball well, and he's such a long, penetrating left-foot kick.
And third in the best and fairest here last season was Jared. So Adam Grokey, our goal of the day. Now, Adam Grokey, he's had a day out in many ways, hasn't he? He has done everything this afternoon, including losing his shirt, and it was just a real team effort, this one.
Yeah, look, at stages, it looked like they were going to mess it up. They had that many opportunities just to someone to back themselves in and kick the goal, and we see Nicky Salter could have had a shot himself, but over the top of the team, Grokey and the Eagles, just a great team performance.
Yeah, so 8 kicks and a couple of goals for Adam Grokey this afternoon, and not to mention a couple of incidents, as we said, as well. He laid out a couple of guys.
Lost his shirt.
Well, lost his shirt as well, and as you said, he fancies himself somewhat as a model, so he was very happy to lose the shirt, I'm sure. Let's go to the mark of the day. I don't think there's any doubt about this. Daniel Stewart, for a guy who's, I'll have to look it up, but he's about 6'8".
A little bit taller than myself.
And this was a huge mark, and I'm just looking now, 199 centimetres, and plus the reach, which he didn't need on that occasion, but great leap from a guy who's on an AFL list, but he went up to Queensland, where he's recruited from the Gold Coast team, Labrador, and then he came down to North Adelaide. He'd be very happy with that mark. Maybe not his overall performance this afternoon, and certainly not North Adelaide's. As we look through the results so far, that surprise last night with Norwood thrashing Glenelg, the Eagles beating North this afternoon. The other two results, Central's, I guess, predictable, 58 points over Port Adelaide, and Westies by 27 points over the Panthers down at Noarlunga. And boys, a little bit more predictable this afternoon as we join Michael and Sodas on the boundary. It is a little bit more predictable this round of football. I guess those are the results we probably expected, save and except for Norwood throwing one spanner into the works last night.
It's been tough for tipping, hasn't it? No doubt about that. But as you said, normally I reckon it takes about 4 or 5 weeks for things to start to settle and teams to, especially if there's new coaches, settle into what they're doing.